myself. All right. Yeah, welcome back, guys. We are live, and we're gonna get started here in about 5 minutes. 5 minutes is
5 minutes sounds good.
Meanwhile, you can entertain people while I continue to set up.
This is the pre-show. We're just getting ourselves situated here. You guys can
bump over a second.
Yeah, exactly. Give a little holler where you're coming from and what you got going on today.
Yeah, I'm going to open up our live control room, see who's here and chatting with us. Let's see, you got to go to our Facebook page. Are you looking at the Facebook page?
Yep.
That makes sense. Okay, do that. I will do the YouTube page.
We're just pulling things up now, guys.
Wait, hold on.
Here we go.
Okay, this is live now. Live dashboard.
Let's see here. No comments yet.
Oh, no.
We're good. It's an event.
No, it's not. Something else got started here.
Oh, yeah. We got episode 10 started by accident.
Okay,
hey, guys, this is the wrong show. So we're going to turn this show off now.
Okay.
And we're going to start the correct show. Don't worry.
We'll be back.
We promise. Pinky swear.
All right. Are we back?
Are we back? We'll find out.
One of these days we're going to get this right the first time. Let's see. Let's see.
It still says this.
Why? Why does it say that?
How about this? Do you want us to? Should we just change this here?
No, because I have so much stuff set up there. Well, I'm glad you guys are here.
We're glad you're here too.
Oh, it's getting all this. I don't understand why it's doing that. Okay, well, I'm going to change that right quick. Hold on.
Small little details, guys. We'll get things going.
There. Because we're not talking about show 10. We're talking about...
Dale says, hey, from Moyles. What's up, Dale? Hardik Vats. Hey, guys, I'm overweight and I don't use running or any kind of physical exercise. How should I start running to lose weight safely? Yeah, that's a good question. We can definitely give you some help there. What's up, Taurus?
I think we're good now.
Sean says,
Garland! What's up, Garland?
I know, we got all our people.
We got all the people in here. Okay, cool. So I think we're finally good to go.
Yeah, dog. Episode 12.
All right, so the main thing that is different about today's episode, guys, is if you can see in the link below, there is, and I'm going to switch to our official, hold on, go there.
Yeah, our official little screen. I love the screens.
There we go. All right, so the main thing is if you click the link below, the giveaway that we have going on today is going to be different because we actually have like a little tool we're going to use instead of just filing through you guys. So if you click the link below, you'll see how to enter and then give us feedback because we're trying to figure out whether this works or not. But it should all work. And
yeah,
live stream health is bad video settings. What does that mean?
We're having some trouble, guys. I also don't see us on Facebook.
No?
No.
At all?
No.
It says Facebook page. Scroll down. Really? Guys, I hate to say it, but we might have to start over again.
We're winning today, guys. This is a rough day.
You know, the problem is that it's catching our live stream instead of the setup stream. I don't understand why.
Running size looks good. Tor says can't see you. Sean says, hey from sunny Cape Town. What's up, Sean? How you doing?
This looks like it's going fine.
Brett,
Guys, actually the main thing is, can you see and hear us clearly? If you can
see and hear us clearly,
good.
we are good to go. No complaints there whatsoever.
It says we're broadcasting to the Facebook page.
I know. I had a hard time seeing it. If it's not, no big deal. We'll catch it another week. I don't care about you guys in YouTube a little bit more.
Let's see.
Anyway.
All right, so I guess we should get started. We have a...
Yeah, let's
go to YouTube.
Right
okay,
in.
good. All right, so let's just not... I'm going to tell the YouTube people.
Harris says, hi from rainy Sweden. Stream is looking great from here. Fantastic. Javier looks good on YouTube.
All right, good.
Perfect. We'll take that, right?
All right, fine. No problem. Okay, so guys, what I really want to know is if you click that link below, the Gleam.io link, that is how you are going to enter our giveaway. And
yes.
Where is our giveaway stuff? Hold on.
Craig's going to go get our giveaway stuff here.
There's that.
Oh, yeah. We got a few cool giveaways we're going to do here today, guys. Oh, yeah. Do we want to show the
What?
runner's mind?
Oh, yeah. Sure, why not?
Yeah, I'll show these guys.
You did Shuku last week?
Yeah, we did a bunch of those last week. Very cool. Cynthia says, hey, from Charleston, South Carolina. Going to try a dynamic warm-up this afternoon. That's awesome.
Where are the yoga tune-up balls?
Where did you put them? Craig just got back in from being out seeing some family earlier this week, and he was actually working with Dr. Carl Bowling in person. And if you guys tuned in on Tuesday, you saw that they did a live stream and did a bunch of injury prevention calls. Kyle's doing that every Tuesday. Really, really good to tune in to get your much more injury-specific questions answered. Today, you are going to get a lot more just color commentary in general from us. All right, we have our little giveaway toys here.
Yeah, where's the medals?
Oh yeah, the medals. Hold on.
All right. Sorry I'm late and missed your broadcast. Daniel, no, you didn't miss the broadcast.
You didn't miss it.
We are
barely
here.
missed it.
All right, so many things to talk about today. Where is my mile relay?
Oh yeah, you got a bunch of things there.
Guys, so I am about to embark on the Bloomberg Beta mile relay
Hustle
this
is your only
afternoon.
mode.
Hustle is your only mode. It's one team, 10 runners, 1 mile each to win bragging rights and food and drinks. Okay. Anyhow, every week I go to a meditation session downtown. It's put on by a friend of mine, and it's at the Bloomberg Beta. Bloomberg is like this financial whatever company, and they have an investment fund downtown. They let us use their office space. That's the main thing. And they know that we have a running company, and so they invited me to be on this relay that is tonight. And I haven't run a mile as a race in a long time, so I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
A little street mile.
A little
Lots
street
of
mile.
turns.
Yeah, apparently
We'll see what
it's like a really, really, like, it's not like I'm around a track or anything. It's like a very convoluted case. But, guys, if you want to do the giveaway, that's what we started saying. The giveaway, we're going to be giving away a yoga tune-up ball, along with a couple other goodies we'll put in the bag. These are like this foam roller that I use when I'm traveling. It's great. You can put them together in this ball. You can pull them apart, use them on your foot.
Yep.
These are great. We use them.
They're awesome.
We've sold them to our runners at different points in time. But we're going to be giving away at least one of these. And then also an entry into our virtual 5K, which you guys have been hearing about if you've been here and if you're not signed up. So click that link and let me know that is working, because it's our first time trying this.
Yeah, Eric says, good luck, Craig, in the mile.
Thank you.
Yeah, who has it said? Hardik says, hey, there are 2 links given. Which ones to click? The first link is for the giveaway.
Yep.
If you want to go right in and guarantee your entry and sign up for the virtual 5K, you can go ahead and click that second link down there.
Cool. All right. Looks like we got 78 entries already in the live show. So just want to keep reminding people to go down there, because at the end of the show, we're going to be using that tool. That way we don't have to do this thing that we usually do, which is kind of find people's names and try to count them and everything like that. So from now on, that's how we're going to do our giveaway, I think.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll try it out. We'll see what happens.
All right, so what do we have to talk about today? I have a couple things I want to...
A couple things on your mind?
A couple things on my mind, yeah. Do you guys remember that a couple weeks ago, I gave away a little gift to Mr. and Mrs. Helming over here of a sous vide?
Oh, yeah. We've been sous videing.
And now they have been sous videing. And why don't you explain what sous vide... What is a sous vide, which means under pressure, a French term, I believe.
Yeah, it is a like a temperature control cooking. So you get a big pot of water, and whatever you're going to cook, you're going to vacuum seal it into a little bag, and you could put spices, herbs, marinade, whatever you want to do. And then you drop it in this water, and then the sous vide cooker is actually something that you clamp onto the side of the water, and it circulates water at whatever temperature you want. Literally, you could have it at 165 degrees, 129 degrees, whatever you want to do. And then you could cook it for any desired period of time based on what you're doing. And so it's just like a really cool way to prepare food. It gets the meat to the exact precise temperature you want. You don't lose any moisture or anything.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a little new food discoveries.
Totally. It's kind of like slow cooking something, except for when you slow cook food, oftentimes you cook it like extremely well done. So stew, for example, the meat's usually like a grade, and now you can cook a steak, slow cook it, but then the meat is perfectly like medium rare for me.
So Craig, I have a question for you.
Yep.
Have you sous vided your sardines yet?
I actually have not.
I mean, I think that would be the ultimate.
I've been using my sous vide in order to make yogurt, high-fat yogurt, which
yes,
talked about
we're
before. Actually
really excited about that.
Yep.
That's been a feature in Craig's Crazy Food Kitchen ideas.
Yep. Oh,
and you have Craig's Crazy Food today?
So today is a different form of Craig's Crazy Kitchen.
Oh, I like this. This is like a book review.
Yeah. So I haven't finished this book, but I have been reading through it on my trip home. This is called Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. I was attracted to this book because the author has been a pretty well-known chef in the Bay Area, and she, was taught by Alice Waters and has learned to bake bread at Tartine Bakery. And her background was initially as a writer. She spent a lot of time with Michael Pollan, who wrote Omnivore's Dilemma, and then eventually taught Michael Pollan how to cook. And what I like about this book is that it's not a normal, she's got these great illustrations in there.
Those are cool.
And it kind of like, I think this pulls out actually. I don't want to rip my book, but...
is that a little poster or something?
Yeah, it's like a, and her whole thing is that she teaches you how to use these four ingredients in order to cook better. So if you are in a professional kitchen, a lot of the times they're not cooking from recipes, but they're adjusting these four things. Salt, which can come in many different variations, not just table salt. Fat, which could be oil or actual fat.
Butter.
And then acid, which is vinegar.
Goat milk. Goat milk has fat in it too.
Totally, right. And heat, which is your element of cooking. And if you control this, you can take anything and turn it into a tasty meal, which is the hope. So, I'll give you an update as I continue to move through the book, but initially it's so much different than a normal book because it is
that just says
teaching
follow
the process.
A, B, C, and D. Everybody goes through the process.
It's not a follow directions book. It's the opposite. It's a try this, taste it, see what happens, and kind of experiment your way through becoming a better cook, which has always been my dream from a cooking perspective, to be able to look at what's there.
That is the biggest hindrance for cooking, right? Because if
Yeah.
it's like you don't have recipes or memorize them, the idea of pulling out a recipe book and buying all the ingredients seems like a total chore.
And as runners, as athletes, food and learning how to take care of ourselves from a nutritional standpoint is always very important, and doing it in a tasty manner is definitely important to me. So cooking has always been like an extension of my athletics. So
I love that.
Check it out. Cool. There isn't I don't have a link in the description, but you can look it up on Amazon.
Yeah.
Super easy.
Super duper easy. You guys have some questions I noticed.
Let's do it.
And we'll skip around back and forth. Let's see here. Crushed City. Love the names.
Yeah.
Aren't they great? Just started my half marathon training and I barely survived the first week. This is my first time following a plan. Shall I dial back the training or try my best to follow it? So a lot of that depends on the half marathon training you're doing.
Yeah, what plan are you doing, first of all? If you're a beginner...
Yeah.
So in our training programs, which you can go to the training plan parts of our website, very easy to find, therunexperience.com. And in our training club, we have access to all the programs, and what we usually suggest for people is that they have a precursor to their marathon or half marathon program, because it's a pretty intense amount of training.
Yeah, you need to arrive potentially with a certain degree of fitness, and that first week of training, sometimes it can feel like a little shock of just getting into a schedule for the first time. So when you say like this first week has rocked your world, is it because you're waking up early for the first time to get workouts in before, or are you running like double the mileage than you ever have in your entire life?
Right.
And if you're running double the mileage than you ever have in your entire life, like that program is probably too advanced and progressive, and we need to dial things back a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I was just writing up an article on our half marathon program, and I was looking at other programs, and really, a marathon program, or it can be months long, and ours is months long for both those. And there is always some pre-work to be done, because you don't want to just start your running fitness and be like, okay, cool, half marathon. That's fine if you have enough time, but you really need to be giving yourself the time to acclimate to the running. And our beginner program and the 30-day challenge, which are kind of the precursors, the beginner program, and look, if you're not following our program, you can follow a different program. It's just that we very specifically thought out this problem, and I think that initially we talk about earning your miles, and you need to actually have enough strength, mobility, and fitness to be able to handle that more intense training. So it's not just it's not like you're taking baby steps. It's you're building the blocks of fitness so that when it comes to some of these greater asks you're making of your body, that you can handle it.
Yeah, like a lot of training plans out there, they presuppose that your posture is really good, that you've got fantastic range of motion in your hips, that your running form and technique is on point, and that you're strong enough to handle that mileage without breaking down. It's also why most programs don't give you much resources to help you when that stuff inevitably does.
Yep.
And we've really tried to take the opposite approach, the real world approach, where most of us experience something and we want to catch that and nip it in the bud. Just out of curiosity, how many of you guys right now are currently on one of our training programs, like are part of our training club membership, which accesses our 30-day challenge or half marathon or marathon program or anything else? You guys can just kind of chime in down below. And I'll keep answering questions as we wait to see that stuff.
One of the things I was looking at, so you guys might be familiar with the Hanson brothers and their training methodology. Yeah. And I did a deep dive into all of their programs over the last week. And then,
did you?
Yeah, I did.
What did you discover?
Well, first I was super, I love the idea of shorter long runs, but basically packing your mileage over over a more steady rate throughout the week. Now, it's funny, if you're not familiar with the Hanson brothers, they have done a great job and have like a very elite team that's trained with them that has proved out a bunch of their training methodologies. But here's the thing that I found, and then I talked to Dr. Kyle Bowling, who works with us, who has actually gone through their marathon program, and he echoed the same thing that I wouldn't say concerned about, but I would say is something to look for. The Hanson brothers training methodology really has zero room for error. So if you're an elite runner and you've qualified for Boston a few times and you're trying to eke out that last few minutes in your marathon time, like to hit a qualifying time or for it to be competitive, it's an excellent way to get in shape. It is higher mileage. They don't beat you up. They purposely give you enough easier days, tons of mileage. I mean, it is a high mileage program. The thing they don't have is they don't have any kind of real strength work or cross training or anything built into the program. So it's very focused on being a runner, but it presupposes what you're saying, which is that your mechanics are on point, that you don't have an injury history, and that you are not going to get injured because there's really no room for that
so
error.
Speaking of, Fran chiming in here, really love your training programs. It's been fun to get back into things after knee surgery.
Awesome.
That's really what we like to see here, Fran. Pam says, member of the training club and doing the half marathon plan.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Let me see. Crush City. Talk to Pam. Ask her opinion on the half marathon program. I'm sure she'll be able to give you her perspective on things too.
What was his question?
This was the earlier.
Oh,
part
right. Yeah, gotcha.
Where we started a long time ago.
Yep, totally.
Let's see here.
The methane.
Oh, which one?
When I'm running, my lungs feel very heavy. What can I do? Okay, so look, running is, there are many parts to being able to be, carefree when you're running. So you can kind of for me, running for 45 minutes can be an extreme effort, and it can also be a very relaxing, kind of mindless or mindful, however you want to think about it, in terms of I'm just zoning out and kind of getting in the flow and running. Now, the difference is that, I've been running for a long time, and I have that variance. When you are first starting out and you're first training, a lot of people are pushing themselves kind of to the edge of their ability. And I've talked about this before, but running seems to be one of these sports. I wouldn't even say one of these sports. It seems to be the only sport where when people start to engage in it for the first time, they tend to run to the very edge of their ability. And I like to give the analogy of if you're a basketball player and you go out into the basketball court for the first time and you pick up a ball, it's very rare that somebody would pick up the ball and start shooting until they couldn't lift their arm anymore. And they're kind of like, okay, I can't play any more basketball. But that's the equivalent of what a lot of people do when they're running. And so when I hear some of these concerns with new runners around, my legs feel dead, my lungs feel heavy, I would say that there is a lot that goes into running, and don't think that it's simple just because it has the least equipment. Actually, it doesn't even have the least equipment anymore.
Yeah, it's got a lot
But one of the things that you really want to do is maybe go through a program or work with a coach so that you are getting the pieces of what it takes for your body to be a runner, getting them together, which means are you strong in the way that you need to be strong? And I don't mean just lifting up a barbell. I mean, are you running strong? Are you mobile? What is your breathing? What is your breathing like? There's a huge variation. There's a whole study on breathing while running. And so just being able to put one foot in front of the other and inhale and exhale is not quite the bar that we're looking at in order for you to be comfortable while you're running.
Yeah. I'd also say that if the lungs are feeling heavy, it might be that you're probably running faster at a higher intensity than you realize. And kind of what Craig was saying in the beginning, your run, he's going to do a mile this afternoon. That's going to, his lungs are going to feel heavy. They're going to sear.
Yep.
Add some walking breaks in there, slow it down. And in a lot of our programs, we give you different things to focus on and to break your workout down so you're actually stopping on purpose to work on some sort of drill or strength exercise and you run again. And it's just a much more pleasant experience, and it's a way to build up.
And I would say, the method, if you're just starting out, jump into the training club just do it for 1 month. Try out the 30-day beginner program, or just do a couple weeks of it and try it and see what happens. Because you'll see that it's a lot different than probably what you're doing right now.
Totally.
Yeah.
And if you sign up for our summer virtual 5K
which
race,
is the link below, you get a free month of the
not
training
only
club.
will you get this sweet medal, and your race bib. I'll pull this with the cool little poster. Shazam!
That's the bib. You guys
That's the race bib and the poster in the back. Look at that, cartoon emojis. And you'll get a free. You'll get included 1 month of training club membership, where you'll really get to test drive these programs and see for yourself, the biggest difference. Most people jump on it and they don't look back. That's going to be the drill there. So check that out. Before we go to questions, I actually wanted to talk a little bit about strength training.
Okay.
And kind of cool. I can brag a little bit as a coach. One of my local athletes who I have worked with for years in the gym. I'm not his run coach. I don't coach him on his running, but I have supported him on his strength and injury prevention for several years now. It's a guy named Jorge Maravilla.
Yeah.
And
what's the URL for us? I'm going to show him. Here, I'll show this to you guys while Nate's
and
talking.
He runs for a company called Hoka 11.
Hoka One One.
Hoka One One.
How many of you guys knew that it was One One? Because I certainly
didn't know it was that either.
I got corrected.
But anyway, Robert says, "Hey, I'm enjoying the beginner run program. Today is the interval day. Good job, Robert."
Nice.
Where's the strength?
Jorge
just won the San Francisco Marathon this last weekend.
That's right. That's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
And a very fast time of 2:28. It is not his PR. I think his PR is 2:21, but we'll give him that as he is in between other bigger races. And you know, San Francisco Marathon is pretty hilly.
It is
So
very
anyway,
hilly.
To go Jorge, we actually saw Jorge
Yeah.
in the gym this morning, and I actually wanted to share with you some of the strength training that I'm doing with him while he's in his season because it is so important.
Where is the? Oh.
Here's the program.
Oh.
Here, I'm giving this over to my esteemed colleague to my right.
There you go.
There we go.
So we just to talk about how we filmed this because this is a
And we just actually have a new strength program as well. We just launched it a week or two ago. It's pretty darn cool, and it's 8 weeks of everything that runners need to do in the gym. And, you know, for all of our programs that are currently out, they thus far have included body weight strength exercises, and it's not easy, right? Let me see here. Pam is talking about. She's like, "Can you explain this single leg burpee?" I'll try to get to that today, Pam. We have some pretty challenging body weight exercises in there, and you can get a lot done. But we are excited to actually have a program that works in the gym that gets you squatting with a barbell, working how to kettlebell swing in a way that really works well for runners. Box jumps, single leg exercises, pull-ups, and we modify this and make it approachable to you because we're really making this program for runners. It's really one of the best, or one of the first strength programs out there like that.
Yep.
And Jorge, this is built around the work that I've done with Jorge over the last couple of years, so it's kind of fun to see him, you know, get the big W in the SF Marathon. And just to give you a little hint, we always add some kind of warm-up in the workout where we're doing some sort of dynamic thing to open up your hips and shoulders. I always like to make it a little bit of a game just to kind of keep that fun. Running is very linear. We try to open it up a little bit. They're always going to be working on some sort of strength and skill-focused approach where things are slowed down, you have a little bit of rest, and it's like today we're going to focus on have you ever done a shoulder press sitting on the ground in an LC position?
Yeah, it really gets the like you have to stabilize and like then you realize I don't have as much.
We did that this morning and it's super hard for runners, but really, really good. And talk about why that, you know, LC position shoulder press is so difficult. You can't stabilize from your hips. If your hamstrings are tight, it shows you that you're lacking a little hip flexion and you have to battle there a little bit. So there's all this cool stuff that you can play with just by, you know, geeking out on one exercise. And then at the end, we like to turn and burn a little bit. And this time of year, I don't like to throw too hard aerobic work there because you guys are getting plenty of that. But today I had them focus on, have you ever done a single leg raise? Sitting in an LC raise where you like raise your legs up and kick them on a dumbbell and back down.
Oh no!
I'll have to show you.
Oh boy,
they're difficult. We'll just put it that way. But a good accessory work, a lot of lateral work, a lot of glute work to get those firing and engaged. We just got a question earlier. I think it was in our Facebook group actually, where someone was saying, you know, they're a marathon runner. They've run 5 marathons. They're having some problems. They've been diagnosed with weak glutes. Yep. That is like 85% of the population, and that's why we just need to focus on this so much. So anyway, running strength program. Jorge,
so
winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah, I put that link in there. You can buy the strength program, like lifetime access to it for just by going to that page. And you can also, everybody who is in our training club already has access to it. So if you join our training club or the virtual 5K and get that free month, the running strength program is part of it. And that is how we're going to, like our programs from now on, this is what we're going to do. So, you know, we create new programs. We're thinking about a pre and post race program.
Yep.
And you know, getting ready for the race, getting, you know, race day and then post race, how do you come down from that race? And so all of our programs are going to be part of the training club, and as you guys enter the training club, you're going to have access to all of that.
Yeah. So Pam, you already have access to the strength program, right? You can add that in there whenever you want and whenever you're ready.
And just to be clear, we have strength days in all of our programs. The difference with the strength program is that it just gets more advanced. So everything else that we're doing in terms of our race programs, a lot of times the strength program that is built into those programs is all body weight strength. which you can get pretty intense with. And if you've done a single leg burpee, you'll realize that, like, yeah, you can go really far with no weights, but we wanted to give that extra mile, and now people are starting to either utilize this in their off season, or they are swapping in the strength days. They've gone through a program maybe once or twice, and then they're kind of swapping in these more intense strength days.
And this kind of dovetails into the next question. So Jamie asks, never run a real race before and doing a half marathon in a little over a month. I've been doing a lot of cross training, but not a lot of miles necessarily. The race is mostly downhill. Tips. So, you know, one of the benefits of doing a more balanced program, especially if you are a new runner, and when I say balanced, I mean balanced between the amount of running you do versus the amount of cross-training strength you do, is that you are going to show up to the starting line healthy. Or even much likely, or
much more likely
chance of that. And that is perfect, right? You want to enjoy the experience of training. You want to not only get better as a runner, but you want to become better as an athlete overall. And that's something that we really, really push for. So all that's really good. You know, in the next few weeks, what you do want to make sure is that you are mentally preparing for your race, and that you are getting the specific work you need to do, because that cross-training, really, if it's doing its job correctly, it's just empowering your ability to handle the miles you need to run for your half marathon. And that's really how they complement. We all need to do enough strength and cross-training so that our body is strong enough to be able to handle that downhill course that's going to pound the snot out of your quads. In terms of tips for downhill running, posture and cadence is going to be significant. It's going to be really, really big. With a lot of downhill courses, we don't realize this, but we tend to relax when we go on the downhills. We work on the uphills, we relax and chill in the downhill. But when your body chills in the downhill, what happens is that your cadence goes slower, and then you're that person that's just kind of slamming their quads into the ground. You totally smoked yourself. You got to work, and honestly, like, in a way, harder on the downhill.
It's a different type of work. I think a lot of times it's like the work uphill, and then there's less work downhill, but it is a different type of work, and a lot of it is holding your form. Because what happens a lot of times in Boston actually is a great example of this, where Boston has that first mile or two that is downhill, and you know, you're so keyed up because it's the Boston Marathon that you can really like work it out in the first part of the race there, and then later in the race, man, it comes back to haunt you because you shot out your quads, and then you go into the hilly section.
We've both run the Boston Marathon, which is notoriously downhill, and probably both experienced good and bad versions of that.
100%.
We've done a good job, 100%. We haven't done a good job.
All right, so let's go back to done talking about this drink. There we go.
There we go. Oh, so Subrata asks, hey, I've enrolled in your 2-week training program. And guys, we actually have like a 2-week free program you can try through a quick start. It's really great. One question, my breathing becomes really heavy towards later half of the run. Can you suggest something to control it?
So first, let's give somebody, so if you want to sign up for that 2-week free program, it's a couple workouts per week, and it kind of gets you used to like, hey, how do we do our training? It's completely separate from the training club, but the training club has full-on programs. This is a 2-week program where you get a couple workouts strength, a couple workouts on running.
This is a little preview of the type of work you can get from us. So this is like a limited menu. Just get a little taste.
To definitely get that, if you want to check it out, you can get it just by entering your email into our website. Just go to therunexperience.com and put your email in that sidebar, and you'll get an email.
You'll be able to get that program. And you know, one of the things we have you do in that 2-week program is a nose breathing mile challenge, where we have you only breathe through your nose. This actually ties in with who's the question who asked about the breathing masks. Let me see here. Aaron asked earlier, what's your guys' experience with the altitude training masks? Do you think they're worthwhile to get? So our answer for the training masks, because they do have some cool aspects to this, is to actually breathe through your nose. You actually have an altitude training mask right here. It's called your little limited airways, called your nostrils. And by closing your mouth and forcing yourself to breathe through this small airway, you're actually forcing your diaphragm to work that much harder, similarly to how it has to work harder in a lower oxygen environment.
And just if I'm correct about which altitude training mask they're talking about, but this is the one you put over and it basically restricts the airflow. Okay, so one of these, like, I find it to be a little bit of a, it's weird to call it an altitude training mask because an altitude training mask, like when you're at altitude, altitude means that you are at a higher altitude, and therefore there's less oxygen in the air. So you're breathing, and what will happen is, and you guys have probably realized this, you breathe a lot faster trying to breathe in more air. So you end up using your diaphragmatic muscles more. Now, the altitude breathing, the training mask, is just restricting the airflow. So the air that's going in is still as oxygenated as it normally is. If you want to simulate altitude, then you have to get something like an altitude sleeping tent, which you don't exercise in, you sleep with this thing over your head. Totally different thing, much more expensive. Some of the elite athletes do it. The thing that is about the altitude training mask is that it does make your workout harder. It makes it harder because you need to work harder to get the oxygen, and you are really using those breathing muscles. You know, for a runner, especially when you're going out for a decent amount of time, I have mixed feelings around altitude training masks, especially when you can just use your nose. Yeah. You know, just close your mouth and try that for a week. Just for part of your run, whenever you think you'd be using your altitude mask, or even less than that, just do it for a couple minutes, or a mile. Yeah. That's what we do in our workout, right?
Yeah, and we start there, and we use it for different ways. One, it's awareness exercise. It makes you realize how good or not good at breathing you actually are. Yep. And we take something like 20,000+ breaths a day, and our body is just, a combination of ingrained movement patterns.
Oh, hold on.
We got all kinds of things going on right here.
My phone's going off. 1 second.
Craig's got somewhere else better to be apparently right now. He's got a little phone calls coming. So our body's always just this combination of ingrained motor patterns, including your breathing. And basically what happens is that when most of us are functioning throughout the day, we are functioning in some sort of seated position where we're probably a little hunched over a screen. And look what happens to your diaphragm here. My rib cage starts to close down a little bit. I can't necessarily get full contraction of that diaphragm anymore. I can't access it as well. So I breathe not as much into my belly, but I breathe more into my chest and my shoulders. And to put the seal of the deal, we just get the shoulders up here, and we breathe this very shallow, what I would almost call a short-circuited cycle of breathing. When you run, your body is going to revert to what it's been practicing all dang day. So if you've been here, Mr. Hunch or Mrs. Hunch, this is where you're going to breathe. And this is why this nose breathing is such a wake-up call, because it drives some awareness there. And then it makes you run a little taller and breathe into that belly a little bit deeper. What you could further do, as Craig is suggesting, is you could train this. Instead of just going for a mile, you could start to go for longer periods. You could push your ability to, go at higher intensities and breathe that way as well. And that would also be a hard, challenging thing.
All right, what other questions do we have?
We got a few more. Guys, this is a live show. We are talking about some different things, giving you some updates, what we got going on for the week. We are also taking your training questions. So hit us up. Let us know what you got going on. We're still trickling through the questions here. We have someone, Jay Just Crow, says, I'm on a low-carb diet. Can you make some suggestions for how to eat while I'm training for my half marathon? I just about passed out the other day. Whew. That's rough.
Oh, okay. So low carb diet. So whenever you go on to any sort of diet, one of the things you got to be careful about is what you're cutting out and what you're substituting in. So it's sometimes easy to say, hey, I'm going to take out some carbs from my diet. Well, those carbs were serving a purpose. Are you substituting something else back in so you're getting enough calories, especially if you're working out and doing a half marathon program? And sometimes it's simple things like, hey, I'm not eating as much in the morning, and then you tend to your hydration goes out of whack because you're not drinking as much. There are a lot of things that when you start to mess with your training in any sort of way, especially nutritionally, you got to figure out what are the things you're pulling out and putting in. What I would say first of all is if you're going low carb, there is a 2-week, sometimes a little bit longer period where you are going to be adjusting to that diet.
Yep.
And I've gone through this, I'm sure you've tried this before as well. And during that period, you're going to feel pretty sluggish, and you will come out the other side, but it's your body transitioning towards, it's metabolizing to create energy, it's metabolizing differently. It is actually going towards your fat reserves. Fat reserves as opposed to glycogen reserves. And so in that period, depending on how low carb you're going, it's going to be a little bit rough. You know, you might not want to put your most intense training at that period.
It depends on how far you are into this diet. If you are on the newer side, running at lower intensities is going to help, because when you start, going over to higher intensities, your body is going to revert back to wanting to burn that sugar, and if that sugar's not there, you're going to tank and you're going to crash. So check out our some of our nutrition videos. We've got some great resources there that talk about those different things and the importance of fats and how fat can play a role and how to be more metabolically efficient is the term that a lot of runners and coaches and nutritionists are talking about these days. And long story short, like, eat more. Like if you're really crashing and you're gonna pass out, like, eat something, especially around your workouts. Like, we don't want to starve ourselves in our workouts. We want to eat to be strong so that we can perform at a high level. That's super important.
And guys, again, I just want to remind you, checked out, and we got a bunch of people who have entered our live giveaway.
227 people have entered? That's amazing.
I think it's entries, so it might be fewer. There's 227 entries. You get multiple entries depending on what you do. So, So jump in there and hit that button. We're going to be giving away a yoga tune-up ball. We're going to be giving away a live
entry into our race. And that's going to happen in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. So make sure you enter below if you guys are joining us now.
I love it.
Now, hey, I'm a converted soccer player.
Yeah, so I like this.
All right, cool.
So I'm a converted soccer player and recently started running. I want to run a marathon, but my longest race so far is a 5K.
Yep.
Is it a bad idea to go straight to 26.2? My max in training so far is 13 miles.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, soccer players are an interesting breed, and one of the things that I think you guys have going for you is that you have a lot of experience running.
Yep.
And you do a lot of fast running, and actually like midfielders who play an entire game, they'll run 3 to 5 miles in a game.
I was a soccer player and very competitive when I was a kid, way before I was a track athlete.
Me too, before I started to run. So you run a lot. The things that's different from regular running is that it's a lot of start and stop. You are running on really, really soft surfaces. So converting from that style running to just the continual,
and you can see
pounding, insane pattern on just the pavement is hard.
Whenever you watch a soccer team practice, you watch the athletes when they're actually in play. Just look at the alertness of their body, and then watch them kind of do their warm-up lap around the field.
That's a very good point.
It's a completely different mentality. It's a completely different headspace that athletes are in, and when you see somebody who's a runner running versus somebody who's just running around, so I would say the transition is as much mental as it is going to be physical. And then whatever sort of things that you've dealt with as a soccer player, like one of the things that soccer is a sport that has a high injury rate, but it's mostly acute injuries. I would say, it is mostly acute injuries. Whereas running is an endurance sport, and a lot of the injuries that people get are overuse injuries or biomechanical deficiencies related. So you're probably not used to looking at your form as a source of where you could get hurt. And that's another thing that you could go overboard, not just in are you strong enough to do 26.2? Almost certainly, if you're even thinking about it, you've done a 5K already,
you drag your way
you've been an athlete before, you can drag yourself through the mileage. A lot of people who attempt a 26.2 endeavor or longer can do it. The question is, can you do it healthfully?
Yeah, and it's just what's the rush?
Right.
The marathons aren't going anywhere anytime soon.
Sure.
If you could, spend some time at the 10K distance and the half marathon distance and do a few of those, respect that, you'll learn a lot. By the time you go to the marathon and having a few of those other events, the training will be more enjoyable, it'll be less stressful. Going to marathon soon is exciting, but it can be very, very stressful because you are just ping-ponging from one thing to another, and that's not so much fun. Let's see here. Britt says, I'm a Couch to 5K graduate. We just filmed a bunch of Couch to 5K videos the other day.
Is that right?
We'll be getting some more out there. Have lost about 50 pounds in the last year. Incredible. And run 20 to 30 miles a week now. That is also incredible.
Nice.
But I'm slow at 10-minute miles. Tips for speed and improvement.
First of all, there are a lot of people who run 10-minute miles. They're what I would concentrate on more so than your specific speed per mile is how efficient are you? Because if you're moving 10 minutes at a 10-minute per mile pace, and you're kind of like, you're moving up and down, like I would do honestly, if you've been putting this much effort into it, I would do a gait analysis. I would do one with Dr. Bowling. You can sign up on our site, go to the training plan page, do a gait analysis. I think it's like $75.
Yep.
You get to send in videos of you running. He will analyze it. You'll talk to him for half an hour on the phone, over Skype or over FaceTime. Do a full session with him, and this goes for anybody.
Yep.
But like the gait analysis, it'll give you an idea of where you are, and I can almost for certain say that your cadence is probably a little slower than you might want it to be. But other things might crop up as well. And if you're putting this much time and effort into it, you're at 20, 30 miles a week.
Yeah. So what's cool about that is that there are going to be some things that you'll discover that will help increase your running speed without increasing your effort, right?
Yep.
So kind of being able to run more efficiently for the same speed. The other things I like to add, especially with newer runners, is some introduction of speed work, right? If all my runs are the same speed at 10-minute mile, like that's just what I'm teaching myself to run. That's of course what I'm going to run because I haven't done anything else. One of the ways we like to start with speed work is actually some hills. So start with 10 30-second hill repeats and, walk or jog back down. The recovery should probably be at least a minute, so you've got more recovery than not. And when you start running up those hills, it actually forces its own kind of efficiency. You'll notice that your cadence does pick up during those 30 seconds. Your posture improves. You notice that your arm swing is a little bit bigger and more exaggerated. Your abs are on a little bit more. All of those things carry over to the rest of your running, and then you get that intensity that can benefit in terms of building your strength, your stamina, and your speed. So,
if you're somebody who's recently lost some weight, another thing I could guess at, and I don't know this for sure, is that you may not have had a whole lot of gears in terms of your movement, your running before, right? If you ever were running before you'd done the Couch to 5K program, before you lost all that weight, and before you doing 30 miles a week, did you have time periods where you're running an 8-minute mile, even if it's for a short period of time.
Yep.
And having that extra gear where you may not be able to sustain it for a mile or even a quarter mile, but at least getting your body used to moving with that speed is totally doable, right? But a lot of people never actually try. And what I will say is, as you start to incorporate that, that's why we like to put people into programs so that it kind of gradually increases the amount of time you're doing these types of like harder workouts or harder efforts, I should say, but at the same time you're working on your mobility and your strength, because these things go together. Totally. If you try to do hard, intense workouts and you don't put in the time on your strength and mobility, you're just beelining your way towards an injury. Yeah. And so, programming that incorporates all this stuff, which our stuff does, or if you're with a coach that is actually guiding you through this stuff, super, super important as you progress. But I will say, you are probably capable, and definitely if you've gotten this far, you're probably capable of something that you are not even dreaming of right now in terms of speed and in terms of like efficiency, how you look when you run.
That's awesome.
So super excited for you. I hope that you can come back, sign back on, every week, but in 4 to 6 weeks, once you've had a chance to try this out, let us know how it goes. This is super interesting. I love hearing cases.
Totally.
Like
and Garland says, I recommend the gait analysis. It helped me with the issues that I had.
Awesome.
And I've done the recommended exercises Kyle prescribed, and so far much improved. That is super rad.
Awesome. Yeah, Garland was on our call on Tuesday, and he had done it last week with the injury consultation, I believe, as well. And yeah, so guys, that is open to anybody. We're super happy to offer that. I was just working with Kyle yesterday, actually. I was with him over the previous week in the Midwest and visiting with him. So we're super happy to have him on our team, and it's just something that is not offered very often. So
totally good. Yeah. I want to get to Pam's question because she is a training club member. She says, "Hey, any recommendations for running a trail half versus a road half?"
Yep.
Well, since you've actually run both a road half earlier, and then we just did a gnarly trail half,
both this year.
What are some of the things?
Yeah. So one, I am historically a road and or track athlete that has migrated into doing some more trail stuff now. I enjoy it. It's great. They are very different races. They're different mentally. They're different physically in terms of what they require. If you've done a road half marathon. Can you do a trail half marathon? Sure, absolutely. Will it feel the same and will you perform the same? Not without different training. And same goes vice versa. If you are a trail athlete and you're used to going up and down, like descending and ascending and basically like doing kind of like more complex trail descending it doesn't exist in road running, right? And road running can be such a pounding thing on your body, but you are really mentally taxed a lot, in ways that I was not able to really tax myself when I was running a trail marathon because I just wasn't simply in that headspace. So what I would say the differences are in a road race, a road race I actually felt like I could get into a much easier rhythm because I was used to it. People who are really used to trail marathons, maybe they're better at that. But with the trail marathon, because I had a road running background, I had a hard time going because you have to vary your pace so much. You're going uphill, downhill, around corners, and like all of a sudden the terrain is really determining your pace, not your own effort. Yep. And you can have consistent effort, but you know that when you go uphill and downhill, even on a road, you can have the same effort, but you're going much different paces, and that alone can throw you for a spin. When you go on a trail, it's just amplified.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So the best thing, Pam, is to get a sense of the type of trails you're doing, the amount of vert. When you start to get into trails, people become less focused on the mileage and how much vert you're ascending, because you could do 3 miles, but if that 3 miles is straight up a mountain and you're doing 2,500 feet of climbing in 3 miles, that is a very different 3 miles from then just 3-mile lap around the park, which is basically what we did in our half. And then spend some time on the trails. This is where getting comfortable with that terrain is good. The road running, the basics of running mechanics are going to be there. The engine's going to be there. When you go onto trails and vert's involved, think less about mileage and more about time and just getting out there for that exposure. Get used to hiking. Sometimes you're going to go up steep hills, like a lot of road runners. I know Craig struggles with this. It's like, man, if he's walking in a race, something bad happened, right? Yep. Because that's usually what happens for a road. But there are times where even the best trail runners out there are going to deliberately be walking in certain places.
It's just more efficient.
It's just more efficient.
Yep. Yeah.
And then downhills, it's sort of like being a mountain biker or a skier. Like how comfortable you are going at high speeds down technical descents without tripping and falling and everything else. So some good differences there.
Yeah, and I would also say that practice the idea of starting and stopping it, or come up with a plan before the race, and that you've actually practiced in some maybe your tempo runs where you are trying to sustain effort, but that involves going at very different paces based on the terrain. Yep. And that was something that I really had very little experience going into this trail half. Our trail half was extremely intense from a terrain perspective. There's probably lots of other trail halves that are not as bad. But man, the effort differential between what happens when I'm going up a hill like this and then what happens when it planes out or goes down. I mean, I had a real hard time really sustaining like what I thought was an optimal level of effort without either redlining, where I was just burning up and had to stop, or going so slow that I was walking. I just had a hard time figuring out what that level was.
And as Edward chimes in from Alaska, what's up, Edward? He says road to trails footwear is going to be different too.
Fair.
Yeah, you can run on road shoes on the trails, but if you're doing something that's gnarlier, looser gravel, it's muddy, like getting a good pair of trail shoes with with good tread and bite is just going to increase your confidence and feel.
Oh, and then the amount of time you're spending in the race, right? So there's the amount of time of effort, like, my half marathon time is more like an hour 30 these days, where my trail time was like 50 minutes, 55 minutes longer than that. And that extra amount of time is
very different.
Like nutritionally, hydration-wise, it really does change things. And so it's akin to a longer race in some ways, just because you're spending more time.
Totally. Yeah. So we got a two-parter with GDK Mouse. Hi from the UK. Training for a marathon, which may confused. Which may be in November, December. However, the training has not been good. I find I'm scuffing my feet a lot near the end, I would assume, of my runs. Any advice, thanks. 6 hours to 6.5 for the marathon. So scuffing is an interesting thing where the first place I would look at would be posture and pelvic position. And basically, when we get tired, we tend to arch our back. And when you arch your back, your whole pelvis tips forward. And when you tip forward, you tend to scuff your feet.
Yep.
Right? And so that's a sign that you've just lost your posture and position. When you scuff your feet that way, your cadence is slow, your hamstrings and glutes aren't engaged, you're not as stable. Like a whole crescendo of not good stuff tends to happen there.
Another great spot to do a gait analysis.
Do a gait analysis. Get into our programs. Like, we really teach you and give you strategies on how to do these longer runs with better technique for longer periods. We show you exactly what to focus on, from breathing to cadence exercises and pulling exercises. And like, take some short focused walk breaks in there. The goal should be to like string together, like shorter amounts of higher quality running. So
I'm actually curious, because we spend so much time on this, and then we have to tell people about our programs and show them like what it contains. If you are doing a half marathon, we've talked to a number of people now. If you're doing a half marathon, if you're doing a marathon, if you're doing any sort of, even if you're doing a 5K, if you're doing any sort of racing and you have not tried one of our programs, type into the comments right now. I would love to hear just what is your thinking. Is it the cost? Is it the following a schedule? Is it that you don't quite know what it contains, what the difference is between that and other programs? Because what we offer is so different and so much more than what most people will follow or most people you can find online anywhere else, that from my perspective, I honestly, it sounds self-serving, but I really feel like most of you who are in that position should at least try it out. And whatever we can do to figure out, the easiest way to get to help you in that way, we will. I just want to know what is your thinking right now. If you are considering it, or if you haven't considered it before, where's your mind on it? Just be honest. I would love to hear that.
Yeah, we definitely love to hear that.
It is
almost time for giveaway.
Guys, this is the last chance. Hit the link below. Enter. I see a bunch of entries in there. There are hundreds. Oh, I gotta refresh this, don't I? Where are we at? 271. All right.
Yeah, there we go.
Guys, this is the last chance. Jump in there, and we are going to give away our free race entry to the Virtual 5K and a Yoga Tune-Up Ball kit.
We're going to get some lucky winners there.
Take a shot every time you hear a program.
Yeah, I know.
Totally.
We're talking about a lot, Steve. Just because we care about you. Let's see here. So second part of GDK Mouse's question here is also, what could an average mileage be for a marathon? I've heard 30 to 50 miles per week. Is that too much or too little? The 30 to 50 miles is probably generally in the ballpark for most beginner to intermediate marathoners, especially as you get towards some of the peak mileage you're going to get there.
Yep.
A big thing that we like to say around here is that, what are you doing to earn those miles that you're running?
Right.
The marathon is so difficult, not only because you have to train that much more for it, but you have to ideally do all the other stuff that allows you and enables your body to handle that mileage. So sometimes we get into fear-based training decisions. We're like, oh my God, I just signed up for this race. All of a sudden, like, I got to run 50 miles, and you do it even though your body's not ready. So it's better to kind of listen internally, see what's going on, run the miles you can handle, and increase from there. If you've done this right and correctly, you should be able to run 50 miles. We want you running 50 miles a week, no problems, but it should feel good.
Yeah.
If it doesn't feel good, run less. You can get away with a marathon on less training, especially if you're doing more strength and cross training. Like, we've both done that in the past. And then, finally, if neither of those things are working, ask yourself, am I really ready for that marathon right now?
Yep. And I think, one of the things, if I could wave a magical wand and create there's so many watches out there that give you, your altitude and how much you climbed, how far you went, how many steps you taken, all this stuff. If I could wave a magic wand and have a device, what it would be is a device that shows you per week, like how much like mileage and training can you handle before you hit an injury peak, right? Because what happens is people don't have the biomechanical efficiency, they don't have the strength and mobility, and so they train beyond that, and then they get into this really sketchy area where they're very likely to get injured. And whether you're a professional runner or whether you're an amateur runner, you're always riding that line of how much can you train before you go over that cliff. And so, what we talk about in earning the miles is do the work so that you push up that barrier so you can actually train harder, you can do more mileage. But if all you're doing is doing mileage to see if you can do the mileage, what you're doing is you're just kind of like moving farther towards that cliff. Maybe you're getting a little fitter, but if you're not doing any of the other work to become a better runner, stronger, more mobile, more efficient, you're just going towards the end of the cliff to see where you fall off. And so I wish there was something where we could say like, hey, you are a 45 mile a week person right now. Let's see if we can get you a little bit above. Or you're a 25 mile per week person right now. And that depends also on how you allocate that mileage. But there isn't anything like that. And so what we have to do is kind of fill in the gaps by putting into your training, putting into it like the mobility and strength and running technique work.
Totally. So let's see here. So Britt says, hey, just found you guys out. We'll look at your plans. Jamie says the cost is the hurdle.
Yep.
Gym membership is already a lot, and I have a few free resources I'm using. That's fair. Thank you, Jamie. Michelle says, I follow you regularly, but price affects me a lot of times. I'm still new and looking into it now, though. That's cool. Robert says, well, Jamie, if you've signed up for a 5K, you get a month included. So it's
totally.
might be
check it out that way.
A thing to check it out, and you get to do a little 5K too. Robert says, I think what you offer is really good value. I know nothing about running, so for $30 to do the beginner program is really good. I'm learning so much. Leaving.
Cool.
I'm learning so much. We appreciate that.
We have been trying to come up with a way where we're like, the cost is, and we're offering more and more, putting more programs in there and try to make it a really good value. We do shows like this. We have live office hours and coaching calls. So we're trying to do everything we can to make sure that this is like a very, very net positive thing for you. The way we think about it is, if you're a runner, you're spending money one way or another. You're buying shoes, you're buying race entries, you are going to the doctor, any number of things and all the gadgets and things that we have around, foam rollers or whatever. The thing that you should invest the most in is your body, because take out the shoes, take out the races. That is the thing that you are left with at the end of the day. That is the thing that you want to carry forward with you in your life. You have to use it for the rest of your life, not just running. Take care of your body. And so our programs are hopefully about getting you stronger so that you are healthier overall, and then you can handle the mileage. So, investing that, we do have a $10 option, which is a weekly running tune-up. If you haven't tried anything, there's a $10 option. You can just get used to some of the training, all of the stuff that we're talking about. It's 3 workouts every week, and it gets dropped every Sunday. It's on our website under training plans, the weekly running tune-up. It's $10. And it's a great way to check it out. You can just check it out that way. So much more economical. It's not nearly as broad in terms of but it is definitely useful. And we always try to tell people, if you're not in one of our training programs, what I do is I go to the weekly running tune-up and do those workouts, because if I'm not doing a specific program for a marathon or whatever it is, I still want to bring these things in.
And on that note, it is time to do our
let's
giveaway.
Do it. And I'm so excited because now I get a very easy way to do this. All right, so first we will do the Yoga Tune-Up Ball. This is a really awesome tool. I carry it with me when I'm traveling. Put it together. You can do your back, you can do your feet, you can do your quads even on this if it's put together.
Yep.
Single, you can do...
they're one of our favorite go-to mobility tools by Yoga Tune-Up.
All right, let's... Oh, wow, a bunch of people jumped in here at the last second. All right, guys, this is it. Picking a winner.
So we're going and
let's see, hold on.
Determining our winners here.
All right, so draw winner.
So we're drawing our winners. Oh, this is so cool.
Yeah, so let's do 2 winners.
Okay. One is going to be for our 5K and one is going to be for the Yoga Tune-Up Ball.
Yep.
Let's see here. Oh, I'm excited. I don't even know what they're going to get.
Sweet. All right, so the Sean Scott, I won't read out your email address here. Sean Scott, you won the virtual 5K entry in Cape Town. And then Bo Smith from Texas. Bo Smith, you won the Yoga Tune-Up Ball. So, Bo, I guess if you could email us, help at the Run Experience, or I guess we can email... email us your address. And so Bo emails us your... Actually, both people email us your address. Actually, we don't need it for Sean, right? We'll just give him a link. Okay, so Sean, what's gonna happen? We're gonna email you a link so you can sign up for that race for free.
Why don't we email both these guys? We'll reach out, and that way we'll make sure that you get your prizes. So
guys,
thank you so much.
This is awesome. I love this, and I think we can announce the winners.
Yeah, we might be able to announce there on the Facebook thing. This will be interesting to see what happens.
Awesome. All right, Sean and Bo. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, there we go. So cool.
Guys, we're going to do that again next week, and we will be here Thursday. We might even open up the raffle a little bit early.
Yeah,
next
why
week.
not?
Yeah. So,
thanks for sticking around. Thanks for your questions. We will see you online.
All right, thanks, guys. All right, now we got to do the awkward...
Super awkward, fun time to close.
Dance. How do we close the window while people are looking at us?
There we go.
There we go. Bye, guys.
There we go. Cheers.